And I can't give him enough credit, and his trainer Don, and his father for believing, and Frank Warren. But his trainer Don, there was another thing at play here. You know what it was, Ken? His trainer Don had a history with Joshua. I don't know the full history. He trained him early on. He had something to do. They had a falling out, and he didn't. There wasn't great. They didn't leave off in a great way. And Don, also there was a sparring session where Dubois had sparred with Joshua, I don't know how long ago, and he had apparently hurt him in the sparring, dropped him. And that happens. Sometimes that happens in sparring. It means nothing. Sometimes it means something. Sometimes it leaves a mark, a memory. Sometimes it could leave ghosts in the attic. And I would say that from a psychological standpoint, when Dubois dropped Joshua at the end of the first round, those ghosts started coming back. They started swirling around again. Those old ghosts, they came back and started haunting the attic a little bit. And the point I'm making with his trainer, Don, is that he really believed that he knew Joshua in a way no one else did, in a more authentic way, in a deeper way, about his shortcomings character-wise, his shortcomings in the ring. He felt that he knew. I don't know if it's what. All I know is what he had said to me. And he passed that on to his charge, his trainer, Daniel Dubois. And he got Dubois to buy into it, to believe. Because he said to me, Don, and no one else I don't think is going to bring this up, he said to me, Teddy, and I thought he was wrong. I told you, I picked Joshua. I thought he was wrong. And I didn't think they were physically going to correct the defense, to improve in the areas they needed to, not to eat those right hands of Joshua early. But he said, Joshua can't beat us. And I looked at him. I said, what do you mean? He said, he can't beat us. When he sees me in the corner with my fighter, he said, I'm telling you right now, I know the man. We're going to knock him out. And I was like, wow, this guy really believes this. And he said, he can't win. I'm telling you, he can't beat us. And he gave that and passed that to Dubois. Do you know what that's tantamount to? Ken, that means that's kind of like the old art of war. The great war philosophers, the great strategists that say that every battle is won before you get on the battlefield. It's won before the war is won before the first battle, because you know that you're going to win. You have prepared. You have no doubt you can't get beat. That is from Art of War. When I heard him say that, I was thinking, wow, that's powerful. If that's real, that's powerful. If he believes it's real, then it's real. If his fighter believes it's real, it's real. That he thought he was preordained, that this victory was preordained. It was done already. That destiny was in his court, that he was destined to win this fight. And you know what? He was right. And you know what? He fought like it. So that's the backdrop going into the rest of it. The rest of it is semantics. It's lefts and rights, and I get it. I know the punches that knocked him out. I understand that. But the rest of it is shadows compared to the solid metal of what I'm talking about, to the bone of what I'm talking about. That is what set up the ability for these punches to keep coming from Dubois, to keep landing from Dubois, his chin to walk through those couple right hands he had to walk through. He went out there early and he set the tone. Here's the analysis now. He set the tone. Came in behind the jab, so he didn't get hit with the right hands like he did with Herjavec. He gave Joshua's something to be defensive about. He walked them down. He backed them up. He showed who was the boss was going to be. And then at the end of the round, he catches them. Again, a flaw in Joshua. A flaw. Just a technical flaw. Going straight. I guarantee he gets away with it in the gym. I guarantee he gets away with a certain level of opponents. But it's still wrong. He backed him up. He hit him with the right hand going out. He dropped him. If he didn't drop him in the end of the round, the fight might have ended in the first round. Then the second round, Joshua is still trying to survive. He's losing the round. He's surviving. He's getting over it. He's showing heart. He's trying to get himself back. Then the third round, he gets dropped. He gets dropped again. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to make sure that I got the rounds right. He drops him at the end of the third round again. And then in the fourth round, all hell breaks loose. He's wobbling all over the place. He's got him hurt. It looks like Dubois is going to knock him out, but he smothers himself a few times. He gets tied up, but he's wobbling all over the ring. He's got seaman legs. He's like he's on a sheet, on a ship on the sea in bad waters, in rough waters. And he's all over the deck, the canvas, the ring. He's all over the place, all over. And then he gets dropped, and the referee doesn't call it a drop. Then he gets dropped again, a real drop, and the referee, one of those times the referee calls it off like it's not a drop. But really he's calling the fight. Yeah. He's calling the fight off because he's doing what you do when you call a fight. The guy's been wobbling on sea legs, in rough seas, all over the ring, and he waves his hands like this. That means the fight's over. He's not flagging a plane down. He's not flagging AAA on the highway for help because he's got a flat tire. When you're doing this, the referee means it's over. But then he says, no, it's not over. So Dubois got to deal with that. 1 second he thinks he's champ. It's over. Mentally, Mickey Ward had to go through that against Arturo Gatti when he thought the round was over. And it's hard to get back mentally in rhythm. It's hard. But Dubois did. But it's hard because you shut down. You say, it's over. It's done. And then, no, it's not over. I got to get back on. So he did that. The referee should be fired. He should never ref again. He did a horrible job all night. It looked like he was trying to save Joshua. I'm not accused. I have no proof other than my eyes. It looked like he was trying to save Joshua several times by giving him extra time, by separating them, by warning, by every means possible. It looked like he was trying to save, but it wasn't to be. It had been written. You know that old saying in the Bible? Let it be written. Let it be said. Yep. Let it be done. That's what this fight was for me.
He had him down in the first, and then with seconds left in the third as well for the second time.
And then the fourth, he's wobbling all over the place. Oh yeah. And there's a moment, Ken, where he gets knocked down. I think there was but he don't count it. And then. Like I said, he waves it off, and then he says no. He's waving off the knockdown, I guess. It was so confusing. All I know is that it was he had no control over the fight. It was a horrible job by the ref. And then by the end of the fourth, Josh was finding himself a little bit. He's showing a lot of heart. Trying to find himself a little bit. And then he goes into the fifth round trying to build on that momentum. And what does he do? Well, I don't want to knock anyone here. I don't. When you do something wrong, guess what? Sometimes it's got to be pointed out. You do something right, it should be pointed out too. But the instructions that Joshua got in the corner after fourth, it was only 4 rounds. I think he said something basically to the point of go roll the dice, and showed him to throw a big uppercut.
Stepping in with the jab almost every time unless you're galloping around. Snip and bring it up. Yeah? It does a bit of a roll in behind.
double jab, bring it up, roll the dice. He'll double on the right hand, lift it, yeah?
But the uppercut against a guy that is capable of punching and throwing straight punches and punching the way that Dubois is, you're going to expose yourself. And he was told basically in the corner to go out there, roll the dice, load up with the big uppercut. And he did. He did. And he got knocked out. But I'm not saying it's the trainer's fault. I'm just saying these things, you have to correct them in the gym anyway. He throws that uppercut because he's allowed to throw it in the gym. And Davidson's done a great job with him, gotten him to a great place. But on this particular night, he didn't have his best night, and neither did the ref, either did Joshua. And I'll say another thing, again, because I'm a glutton for punishment. The fans, I love yous. And they were so good to me, so good. And they are good. They love their guy, and I appreciate you love your guy. But Joshua didn't like me. And the fans were mad at me because I said 2-3 years ago that Joshua was overrated. Listen, I'm not beating a dead horse. I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. I'm not a bad bandwagon right now. I'm not doing that. I'm being consistent with what I said. I gave him his credit. He's a gentleman. He has brought huge attention to the boxing, to the heavyweight division in London again. He's revitalized it in that way. Although those fans are always ready to come out. It's fair to say he revitalized the division in London, bringing out those crowds, and he became a millionaire along the way. But he made a lot of fans happy. He won a gold medal in the Olympics. But I consistently said that he's being overrated. He beat Charles Martin for the title. That was not something that's worthy of anointing you as a great heavyweight. And when I looked at his list, who did he beat? He got knocked out by Andy Ruiz. He beat him, but he got knocked out by Ruiz, who took the fight on a week's notice. He beat him in a rematch. I gave him all the credit. He reinvented himself. His body, everything, became a different boxer. Fought back from those ghosts, if you will, that I talked about earlier. The ghost of being knocked out just the fight before. Came back and got his title back, faced what he had, got redemption, faced what he had to face, all the doubts that had to be hovering around his head. I give him credit for that. But then he loses twice to Usyk, who's great and special. But at the time, it was a guy who moved up from cruiserweight, smaller man, moved up. Maybe we didn't know how great he was yet. He had consolidated all the cruiserweight titles. He had won a gold medal in the Olympics. He comes up, he beats him not once, twice in England, in his home country. And again, I just said that where is the proof that where is it that you can be justified in calling him such a great fighter? I mean, you love him, you can call him whatever you want. He's your guy. He's your guy. And he's a gentleman. He looks the part. He's giving you a lot of excitement. But when you break it down and you look at the guys that he fought, who did he fight and actually beat that could actually make you put your hand on a Bible and swear that you think this guy is one of the greats? And at that kind of Mount Olympus level that you're putting him. Who? I'd like to know.